Welcome to Therapy Unlocked, where we discuss all things therapy from an unlocked perspective. I'm Emily Huffman, and I'm here with Katrina.
Hello, Katrina, Mondragon, licensed professional counselor. I am a professional, but not your professional, so nothing we're going to talk about today should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. That's the disclaimer.
Education, amusement, and because I would like to be famous. So please like, subscribe, follow, engage. And welcome to Therapy Unlocked.
To be seen and to be heard is necessary, whether or not you have a desire to be perceived. Mm-hmm. That is such a deep emotional statement, because I can remember prior to said ego death we have been discussing, just begging to be seen and begging to be heard, even though I was right up in that motherfucker's face and I was talking real loud. Okay, but I needed to be seen, I needed to be heard, I needed to be perceived. So yeah, customizing our avatar, or that is just the terminology I'm using for dyeing my hair, wearing the clothing that I wear, decorating my house like a Cracker Barrel crack whore. I do think it is largely a need to be seen, sure, and heard and perceived as who you are. And I think for myself, more than anyone else, is that true?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's who we want to see when we look in the mirror that matters more than anybody else.
So kind of like you scoffed when I said, I did not want to lead. I did not want to be in control. I did want to be soft.
Right, because you're a fucking leader.
I did not perceive myself prior to my ego death. I needed my ego to die. I had no idea who the fuck I was. If I had not allowed my ego to die, if I had not lost everything, then I would not have known that I could survive that. I would not have known that I could get back up again. And I would not have known that I could make it look so good. Because I do. Because everybody wants to watch along. And they do. And they listen along. And they're up in the views and they're not saying anything. You know the reason they're in the views and they're not saying anything? Because they don't have anything as interesting to say.
Oh, that's a hot take. So you're not commenting because you don't have anything as interesting as we're talking about to say?
That's one. They don't have anything as interesting to say. No, I'm not talking about your average viewer, but I'm talking about the haters we were discussing. Right? I love a casual internet hater. Y'all are amazing. Driving that engagement, pushing that viewership, whether you realize it or not, you absolutely do push those videos to more people.
Right. Engagement is engagement.
Engagement is engagement. They do not care if you like the video. They do care that you took the time to say something about it, right? So these algorithmic gods do not care if you liked it or not. But the haters that are watching along, because you are going to get those inevitably if you appropriately lived your life as a social person. People will not like you. You cannot. Only 10% of people like me, and I would say at least 1% hate me. And that's just fine.
That's fine. Yes. It's like not everybody has to like you. We're not everybody's cup of tea. If you don't like us, keep on scrolling.
Facts. But also, the ones from our actual lives.
Oh, right.
I am talking about, and I'm talking about on a general scale for everyone. And everybody's got them. Everybody has an ex, a relative, a frenemy, somebody who is in their views and they're watching you and they are so mad because you are not talking about them. And I just hope everybody knows that. They didn't like your video because they are so mad that you are not talking about them. Why? And they didn't comment because they don't have anything as interesting to say. And they are watching because their lives are very boring and they cannot put themselves in the story. They are not the main characters. They are NPCs.
Have you heard Brene Brown's arena? She kind of took it from Ben Franklin's arena, but she talks about being in the arena. If you're not in the arena, if you're not creating content, if you're not out there putting in the hours of editing, doing the legwork, creating the content, coming up with material,
allowing people to see your real body and your real face,
then your opinion really means nothing.
It's highly irrelevant. You know, it is. It's highly irrelevant, and you are not the intended audience. That's a very important point, too.
Well, Well, everyone's the intended audience because it's for anybody who's cares to watch, listen. And thanks to our new viewer, Melissa. Shout out to Melissa.
Nice. I have an opposite opinion. We're going to disagree. We got to fight.
Okay.
I am not here for everyone.
Oh, okay.
I am not their cup of tea, then I'm not their cup of tea. I am here for the person who wants to hear me. And I am just delusional enough to believe that I'm finding them.
I don't think it's delusional. I think we are finding them. I think the people who are coming around again and again and listening each and every week are genuinely interested in the things that we're having to say. And the people who aren't interested are just listening once maybe and then they move on.
Well, I said this to myself yesterday, but 10% of people click on my face and I'm banking on that. I'm a pattern watcher. I watch patterns. 10% of people click on my face and I'm banking on that. I have watched video after video. I think between the two of us now, between Therapy Unlocked and Final Girl Energy, I'm sitting somewhere close to 300, 400 videos over time that I've released. And I have looked at the analytics on each app, on every single one of them. And consistently, even if they don't like it, 10% of them click on it.
Right.
Okay, cool. Then I have something to sell. All right. But I'm not here for everyone. So there's 8 billion people in the world. 10% of 8 billion people. I need to get to all of them. Okay. And then 10% of them will click on my face and 5% of them will like me. And 1% of them will hate me and drive up the engagement. And we can keep it moving from there. But I'm not here for everyone. You know?
I guess I should have said everyone who wants to be here.
Oh, no, I think this should be mandatory viewing. No. Let's sit them down, pry their eyelids open and say, watch up, buddy.
Well, because one of the things I noticed when I was a supplementary instructor years and years ago was I didn't really care for teaching people who weren't into it. I could tell when people were just there because they had to be there and when people were there because they wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, and I want the most rewarding part of any content creation that I have done so far and of the live streaming, which is where the majority of my opinion and my character are coming from at this point in time, because I've done a good amount of it now. I've responded to over 300,000 comments. I respond to everyone's comments. Wow. Yeah, I think we're sitting close to like 350,000 people who have commented, and I have verbally responded to them while on live stream. Wow. And I'm very proud of that. I think that's really cool. But it was that was yet another brick in the rebuilding of a new personality, because I had that ego death, right? And also it is where I began to develop these opinions that, okay, we can and should find our audience that wants to unlock the mind and how it works and why, that wants to figure out what the benefits are after an ego death.
Have I told you about the amygdala?
No.
So the amygdala is like the fear center of the brain, and I kind of know where it is. Like if you put your hands where your ears are and you imagine they're touching. Imagine if your fingers were touching on the inside, that's where your amygdala is. And that's like the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, that surge of adrenaline and cortisol that you get when your body's in danger.
Yeah.
Like danger, death. That's the side of the brain that like lights up really hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get stuck in that sometimes, and that can be not fun. But there is a way to, like, hack the parasympathetic side of the autonomic nervous system, I think, and calm that little bitch in the back of the brain down. That's my nickname for the amygdala.
So that brings us back to the making the bed. I was stuck in a state of freeze. Because I do believe that grief tickles that amygdala pretty heavy and pretty hard. Mm-hmm. Anytime you have a sudden loss of something in your life, fear is going to inject itself into despair, most of your actions.
Devastation, all normal.
Yeah. So at that point, you know, you're going to respond with fight, you know, fawn, freeze, whatever. I have learned now that I really need to take advantage of that fear response, and I really need to direct it.
That's all the time we have for today on Therapy Unlocked. Please join us next time as we continue the conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us as we continue the journey to unlock the mind, one conversation at a time.
What I talk about today should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. That's the disclaimer.